everybody, I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to read the first 3 chapters of Evie in the Jungle by Matt Haig. I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 1, Evie the Superstar. Evie Navarro opened the front door and saw a crowd of photographers and journalists. Evie, can we ask a few questions? Evie, what is it like to be famous? Evie, here's a dog, can you read its thoughts? Evie stood there feeling dizzy and lightheaded. I'm sorry, I've got to go. Evie was a superstar. That's what her best friend Ramesh said. You're a superstar, he had told her the previous Tuesday while eating hummus and falafel sandwich on their favourite bench at Lofting High. But she wasn't really. Well, Evie didn't think so. She wasn't a celeb or anything. It was just that a lot of people had heard of her. She had been in newspapers and on TV. She had been on the cover of the world-famous Nature magazine and had over 200,000 followers on Instagram, even though she had only ever posted 2 photos, one of a sunset and one of an endangered leatherback sea turtle. And every morning, the crowd of journalists at her door grew bigger. The reason for all this fame and unwanted attention was because Evie had a special talent. The talent now had an official name given by scientists. Interspecies, two-way telepathic animal communication. Or, to put it another way, she could talk to animals with her mind. She heard what animals were thinking and could chat to them without even moving her lips. And though she had kept this skill secret for a very long time, now everybody knew about it. She had solved a crime with it, and there was lots of proof. On TV, on YouTube, in magazines, communicating with dolphins at her local zoos, getting mice to march in a line, asking rabbits for directions to their burrow, telling a bearded dragon to change the TV channel, and conducting an interview with a seagull. There were thousands of strangers on the internet calling her a freak, so Evie had been locking herself away in her bedroom and reading. The book she had been reading most was called Animals of the Amazon by Professor Abigail Garcia. It was amazing, full of astonishing facts and written by a biologist who actually worked in the Amazon in Peru, finding new species and helping to save the rainforest. Abigail Garcia was on the front cover, smiling and waving in front of the trees with a parrot on her shoulder. Evie was holding that exact book in her hands as she stared out at the shouting reporters. Evie, give us a smile. I'm sorry, I'm just tired. Evie, what do you say to people who say you're a fake? I'd say ask scientists who have confirmed I am not. Evie, do you think fame's going to your head? I'd rather not be famous, to be honest. Evie! Evie's dog Scruff came to her side. Get a life, he barked at the reporters. Leave Evie alone. But the reporters didn't speak dog, and so they carried on doing what they were doing. Then Evie's dad came and slammed the front door in the reporters' faces. Evie, I told you not to answer the door. I forgot. She forgot, said Scruff in her defence. She is quite forgetful. I mean, I haven't had a tummy rub all morning. Scruff, I've just woken up. You've had 48 tummy rubs yesterday, at least. You say that like there can be such thing as too many tummy rubs, said Scruff. And well, there can't. Chapter 2, A Big and Dangerous Place. A little later, over breakfast, Evie's dad had an idea about how to deal with all this unwanted attention. It's the school holidays next week. We need to get away for a while, he said, pulling the blinds down to stop the reporters from looking in. What do you think? Evie nodded. 100% agree. Where would you like to go? Evie looked down at the book she was holding. How about the Amazon? I'd like to go back. I know we were there when I was little, when you and Mum worked there, but I can't remember it, except in dreams. Maybe we could make those dreams real. Her dad looked worried for a moment. Then he smiled. You are your mother's child, but the Amazon is a big and dangerous place. Are you sure? And what about Scruff? Scruff was lying in his basket. Would you like to go and stay with Granny Flora? Evie asked the dog. Yes, said Scruff. Yes, I would. I get to sleep in her bed and she gives me human food, including pizza. I like pizza. I know I shouldn't, but I do. Pizza is good. Can I go right now? Scruff would be fine at Granny Flora's, Evie told her dad. Okay, but it's the Amazon. Evie sighed. She knew all about the Amazon. Not just from her dreams, but also from books. She knew that 1 out of 10 animals that exist on Earth can be found in the rainforest, and that many of them are dangerous. Poisonous dart frogs, wandering spiders, and sleek, prowling, spotted jaguars. But she also knew that more dangerous than all of those creatures were human beings. She knew the rainforest was under attack. Humans destroy enough rainforest to fill 30 football pitches every minute. I'm sure I want to go there and think about doing something useful. I want to help fight climate change. I want to protect animals. This might help me do that. Do you want to visit the Brazilian rainforest? Evie shook her head. Her mum had died in the Brazilian rainforest. No, not yet. I've been thinking about Peru, said Evie. Wow, you really have thought about this. But I am worried. There's a surprise. I'm sorry, Evie, but it's not the safest place for a holiday. Are you sure you don't want to go to Mallorca or the south of France? Or Cornwall? Cornwall's nice. A riverboat cruise would be safe, she suggested, and I could meet some pink river dolphins. I've done my research. There's one called Ernesto's River Adventures. It's a small boat, just a few passengers. Well, okay, I'll look into it. But maybe we should sneak away to Granny Flora's until we go, just to get away from all this noise. Thanks, Dad, said Evie. Thanks, said Scruff, closing his eyes and thinking of all that pizza. Evie's dad smiled. But I can't promise pink river dolphins. Chapter 3. Riding the River. The riverboat cruise had been a great idea. Evie and her dad were having an amazing time in Peru, sailing down the river. She had exchanged thoughts with a gentle manatee and a grumpy giant otter, and had a shocking conversation with an electric eel, whose thought zapped and jolted about so fast Evie got a headache. They had visited a nature reserve known as the Jungle Mirrors, where the black waters were so still that they could see their reflections. Spotted 3-toed sloth in the trees, and Evie had mind-chatted sleepily with her. Met more species of monkeys and birds than even Evie had known existed, and finally caught a glimpse of a deadly-looking jaguar between the trees. The glimpse of the jaguar had been far too short for Evie's liking, and she hadn't been able to pick up on its thoughts. I'd love to be face to face with a jaguar, Evie said. Her dad went pale. Maybe we could get a cat when we get home, he said. A nice, small cat. I mean, cats are cats. I'm sure Scruff wouldn't mind. He would mind. He thinks cats are evil. He thinks cats are in a plot to take over the world and then make dogs into their slaves. And anyway, I would love to talk with a jaguar. Jaguars are killers, her dad said. But Dad, so are humans. I mean, technically, and you're a human and I still talk to you. Yes, but unlike a jaguar, I'm not going to bite your head off, even if I do get really angry. Evie sighed. Dad, that's prejudice. Jaguars rarely kill humans. Her dad decided to change the subject. Shall we look for some pink river dolphins? Sure, said Evie. It's a shame we haven't seen any yet. There is still time, said Jerry, a friendly, twinkly-eyed American man with wild grey hair, who was one of the few other passengers on board the boat. Oh yes, said his red-cheeked wife Barbara, looking through her binoculars across the river. We should hopefully see them as we get closer to Iquitos City. Iquitos City, their final destination. It is the largest city in the world that you can't get to by road. You either have to fly there or get a boat. The riverboat was captained by a hairy man called Ernesto, who drank and passed around a lot of bottles of Inca Cola, a local soft drink, a sweet, slightly sickly liquid that Evie thought tasted like melted ice cream. She liked it, and she also liked the food. They'd stopped at a hut beside the river that sold something called taku taku, a kind of fried dumpling that was sticky and totally yummy. As Evie bit into the taku taku and wondered why they weren't sold all over the world, they set sail again. She leant over the side of the boat, looking for amazing river creatures to chat with, in hope of seeing a pink river dolphin. The jungle was incredible. The vast, wide, brown-green river, the rubber trees lining its banks, the parrots flying overhead, the buzz of the insects, and the distant squawks and squeals of unseen animals far away in the trees. It felt like life itself. There were some sad sights along the way. As they got a bit closer to Aquittal City, Evie saw stretches of empty, dead land where the forests had been destroyed. She saw smoke rising above the jungle where developers had set fire to the trees in order to clear the land. "Isn't it terrible," sighed Barbara, "what people are doing to this place?" And then it happened, right there in that moment of sadness. Jerry pointed to the river. "Look, in the water, just below the surface." And Evie saw it, a rising pinkness. Could it be? Could it possibly be? Yes, a dolphin.